If you'd like to work along with me at home, open the Project Files folder, Lesson 4 folder, and then open Spellcheck. In a perfect world, we'd all be wealthy and good-looking and be able to spell everything perfectly. But it's not a perfect world, and I'm neither wealthy nor good-looking, and I certainly can't spell very well. But fortunately, Excel is able to solve one of those three problems for me with its Spellcheck feature. Now, you might be thinking, Spellcheck, groan. What do I need to know about Spellcheck? If you've been using Word or some other program for a while, you're probably already familiar with the fundamentals of Spellcheck. But I'm betting I can show you a couple things you don't know, specifically about using the custom dictionary and using AutoCorrect options. So if you don't know anything about those two things, stick around. We're going to get to that in just a couple of minutes. But for now, we're going to take a look at how to just do a basic Spellcheck. And here we have Broomhilda's Custom Costumes. This is a list of categories for the costumes that this company sells. I've conveniently gone through and highlighted all the misspelled words in red. This way we'll be able to keep track of what we're doing as we run the spell check. So let's get started. To do spell check, you need to go to the Review tab. The Review tab is where you'll go to find all of the tools necessary to get your document ready to go out into the public. And of course, good spelling would certainly fall into that category. So let's go over to the Spelling button and get started. Click the button, and in the spelling dialog box, the first thing it flags is Broomhilda. By the way, I should mention that my active cell when I started here was in cell A1. Excel always begins at the active cell and works its way to the bottom of the worksheet. But if your active cell happens to be further down in the worksheet when you get started, Excel will go to the bottom of the worksheet and then come back up and get whatever you missed. So you don't have to worry about missing anything here. Okay, so it finds Broomhilda's and it says, I don't know what that is. It's not in the dictionary. Now, does that mean it's misspelled? No, because that's the name of our company. It just means that it's not in the dictionary. So all we want to do now is either say, well, just ignore that, or why don't we just add it to the dictionary? That way it'll never be flagged again. So we'll just go over here and we'll choose Add to Dictionary, and Excel happily goes on to the next word, character, which is conspicuously missing an E at the end of the word. So Excel shows you the misspelled word in the top dialog box, and then down here in the suggestions box, it shows you possible spellings or suggestions for that misspelled word. It turns out that this is exactly what we're looking for, so we'll just click Change, and it'll swap out this correctly spelling word with the misspelled word. So here we go, Change, and it goes on to the next word, which is Halloween. Now notice that Halloween has two problems. First off, Halloween is a holiday, and it should be capitalized. The other thing is that it contains two L's, but this one does not. So Excel flagged it for both of those reasons. If you take a look in the worksheet at all the Halloweens that I've formatted in red, you'll notice that most of them are spelled exactly the way I have it here. But over here in cell B14, there's one that isn't spelled like that one. This one has a capital H. To Excel, that's a different misspelling than the other ones that have a lowercase h. For that reason, we're going to see this one come up immediately after we're finished working with this one. So here we go. What do we want to do with this? Well, since I'm looking over here and I see there's so many of them misspelled, I'm going to tell it to go ahead and change the spelling on all of them with Change All. But remember, it's only going to change the spelling of those with the lowercase h. Change All, here we go. Now when you look out here at the red Halloweens, you can see they've all been changed except this one right here. And that's exactly the one it flagged next. So do I want to change it? Now it's just simply saying, do you want to change this one with the one L with the one with the two L's? And of course that's exactly what I'll do. And I can either hit change if I'm sure there's only one of them, or change all if I'm not sure. I'll just click change all and we'll go to the next word. Theatrical seems to be missing something. We'll go ahead and click change to fix that. And then we come to the word costumes, which seems to be missing an O. So we'll just change that one as well. Now we come to sci-fi and fantasy costumes. The sci isn't necessarily misspelled. It probably needs a hyphen after it, but since I'm not sure, I'll just leave it go the way it is, and I'm just going to say ignore. Now I've got two ignore options, ignore once and ignore all. If I choose it to ignore once, if it shows up again in the worksheet, it'll flag it again. If I say ignore all, it'll simply ignore every occurrence of this. So I'm just going to say ignore all. And we come to occupational. Wow, that's really butchered. We'll go ahead and accept the suggestion and just say change that. And now our spelling is complete. Many times when you work in Excel, you'll have a column of stuff that contains proper names, maybe the names of companies or customers or people's first names and last names. Excel's able to figure out some of these things and know that they're not misspelled, but it can't do all of them. So if you want to exclude a big range of cells from your spell check, all you have to do is select the cells that you do want to spell check ahead of time. For example, if I want to exclude all of this stuff in column B, I could just go over here and select all the stuff in column C, and then run the spell checker. Excel goes through the whole list of selected cells and then says the spelling check is complete for the selected cells. So we know that we've only checked that group right there. And now we come to the stuff that I said you might want to stay tuned for. We're going to take a look at working with the custom dictionary and with AutoCorrect options. Remember, we added the word Broomhilda to the custom dictionary. You might like to know where that is. We'll go to the File tab and then click the Options category and then go to the Proofing category. And right down here we have Custom Dictionaries. Excel comes with one custom dictionary by default. This is the one where all of the stuff that you want to put in the dictionary goes. With the Add button over here, you could add additional custom dictionaries if you so chose, but we're only interested in this one for right now. To edit the word list, we'll click, of course, Edit Word List. And here we can see Broomhilda has been added to this dictionary. If we decide that we no longer want it to be in the dictionary, we could click it and choose Delete. If you wanted to add custom words to your dictionary, you could simply type them in here and click the Add button here to add them to the dictionary without having to do it through the spell check. You might want to do this for your company name or maybe people who work in your company. When you're finished, click OK and OK your way on out to here. Now here we are in the same proofing category, and now I'd like to take a look at AutoCorrect options. The AutoCorrect feature automatically changes your misspelled words as you type without running the spell checker. And a lot of times you're probably not even aware that it's doing that. Here are some of the things that it changes. Notice if you type a C inside a set of parentheses, it'll change it into a copyright symbol. Or if you type a TM inside a set of parentheses, it'll change it into a trademark symbol. How about this? I'll type TEH, and this takes me down in the list to where I can see if I type in TEH, it'll replace it with THE. Of course, you can scroll up and down in the list, and you can see that there's lots of stuff here. Excel's tried to include most of the things that people commonly misspell in this list. Whatever gets typed on the left is automatically replaced on the right. And as you saw a second ago, if you know what you're looking for, you can just type it in here. I'm going to type in HTERE. Here's another one. If you misspell there with an H first, it'll correct it with this one. Great. Well, let's see how this works out, and what does any of this have to do with spell check? All right, we'll cancel out of here. Go ahead and click OK to get out of here. And we're going to just go over to Worksheet 2, and let's see how this all plays out. We'll type in TEH and then just hit Enter, and there's the correction. How about HTERE? Enter. There's the correction. How about one of those symbols? Open parenthesis, C, closing parenthesis, Enter. Or open parenthesis, TM, closing parenthesis, Enter, and there you go. That's AutoCorrect. So once again, the question, what's that have to do with spell check? Well, by way of an example, remember our misspelled word Halloween? We spelled it this way, a small h, A-L-O-W-E-E-N. And there's our misspelled word. Now, if we're lazy, and if we don't want to really learn how to spell it, if we just want to have Excel automatically correct it for us like it does the and there, we can simply add that to the AutoCorrect options. One way to do that would just be to run the spell checker and let Excel flag the word. Here's the misspelled word in the top, and here's the correction in the bottom. If we go over to the right and click the AutoCorrect button, it'll add this into the AutoCorrect options, where it'll say, if you type this, replace it with this. Let's try it out. AutoCorrect, and then OK. And let's just go over here and try it. H-E-L-O-W-E-E-N. When I hit Enter, it corrects it automatically for us. All right, there you go. That's Excel enabling bad spellers all over the world.